She held her breath, reached inside the bin, and pulled out a handful of stained pads. Her hands shook as she stuffed them into a black nylon bag. Have you ever wondered what happens to your used pad after you throw it away? What if it's not just trash to some people, but something much darker? The streets of Lagos were always buzzing with life, cars honking, traders shouting, and the smell of roasted corn mixed with the thick stench of refuse from overflowing dustbins. But lately, something strange was happening. Madmen were increasing on the streets, scavenging trash bins, sniffing through refuse, fighting over trash in marketplaces and school hostels. Not just the usual ones who walked around talking to themselves. These ones were different. They dug through trash bins like they were searching for something valuable. They fought over dirty rags and plastic bags. People whispered about it, but nobody paid close attention. After all, Lagos had always had its share of madness. But these madmen were different. They were not just homeless people looking for food. They had a purpose. A market woman at Yaba watched in horror as two of them fought over a single stained pad near her shop. They growled, bit and clawed at each other until one of them ran away, clutching the pad like it was a bag of gold. They were not ordinary madmen. Strange disappearances rocked the University of Lagos. 3 female students vanished without a trace. Their last known locations? The hostel dumpsters. The school authorities dismissed it as runaway cases, but one person knew the truth. Mariah, a broke 300-level student who was part of the pad-picking ring. She wanted to leave, but she already knew what happened to those who tried to quit. Mariah wasn't always like this. She was a University of Lagos student studying mass communication. Life was hard for her. Her mother was sick, and school fees were expensive. Sometimes she ate only once a day. "Amaka, how are you making money?" Mariah asked her roommate one day. Amaka smirked. "You don't want to know," but Chisholm did want to know. That evening, her rich roommate Amaka gave her a strange offer. Amaka had money, new clothes, expensive wigs, flashy gadgets, yet she had no rich parents, no boyfriend sponsoring her. "Do you want to make easy money?" Amaka asked her. "What kind of money?" Mariah asked. Amaka smiled. "Just a small job. No stress. You just have to collect something and drop it somewhere." Mariah hesitated. "What are we collecting?" "Used pads," Amaka whispered. 100,000 naira every week. "Just pick them from the hostel dustbin, drop them at a location. That's all. 100,000 naira every week." Mariah's heart skipped. "Pads? Why?" Amaka shrugged. "That's not our business. Do you want the money or not?" Mariah had laughed at first. "You dey mad? Used pads?" She hesitated. It sounded strange. But when she thought of her sick mother and her unpaid school fees, and her account balance read only 350 naira, she changed her mind. The first time was the hardest. Mariah waited until midnight when most of the girls in her hostel were asleep. She tiptoed to the dustbin behind the hostel bathrooms, her heart pounding. She held her breath, reached inside the bin, and pulled out a handful of stained pads. Her hands shook as she stuffed them into a black nylon bag. Was this really worth it? She didn't have time to think. Amaka was waiting outside, and they had to make the drop. The location was an abandoned house near the school gate. A black SUV was already waiting. The windows were tinted, and a man in a black kaftan stepped out. He looked rich, but something about his face made Mariah's skin crawl. Amaka handed him the bag. He nodded, threw an envelope into her hands, and left. Mariah peeked inside. 100,000 naira in cash. Just like that. It was easy money. Too easy. That night, Mariah had a terrible dream. She saw a giant underground shrine. A bubbling pool of black water sat in the middle, surrounded by men in red robes. She watched in horror as a man poured a bag of used pads into the pool. The blood seeped out, turning the water into gold and naira notes. Mariah woke up sweating. Her hands were shaking. She looked down and screamed. There was blood on her hands, but it was not her blood. Mariah told Amaka about the dream, but Amaka laughed. "You think too much," Amaka said. "It's just a dream." The next day, Mariah waited until midnight when most of the hostel girls were asleep. She tiptoed to the hostel bathroom, her heart pounding. The air smelled of soap and damp walls. She glanced over her shoulder, ensuring no one was watching, then lifted the lid of the dustbin. Inside, crumpled tissue papers and wrappers concealed her target. She held her breath, carefully sifting through until she spotted it, a blood-stained pad wrapped in tissue. She quickly dropped it into a black nylon bag, her fingers trembling. Just as she zipped up the bag, the bathroom door creaked open. Mariah froze. A shadow moved at the entrance. "Who dey there?" A girl's voice called out sleepily. Mariah ducked behind the toilet stool, pressing herself against the wall, her pulse racing. After a few moments of silence, the girl left. Mariah exhaled shakily, clutching the black nylon bag tighter, and slipped out of the bathroom unnoticed. She realized something strange was happening in the university. Girls were falling sick, sudden fevers, unexplained stomach pains, weakness. A girl named Halima coughed blood in class and collapsed. Cynthia woke up paralyzed the next morning. One girl was found dead in her hostel bathroom, with deep scars on her thighs. Mariah started feeling uneasy. She tried to quit, but Amaka warned her, "Nobody leaves this business alive." She didn't believe it, until she saw the missing girls' faces on the news. She was scared, but she needed the money too. Are you still watching? We want to know. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. Let's see how far this story is reaching. And while you're at it, have you ever heard of stories like this happening in your area? Share your thoughts below. Mariah discovered that the hostel cleaners dumped trash at a designated refuse site behind the building. One evening, she lingered near the back gate, watching the cleaners offload bins. As soon as they left, she darted forward and rummaged through the refuse bags, searching for discarded sanitary pads. A security guard approached with a flashlight. "Hey, wetin you dey find for there?" Mariah stiffened. Thinking fast, she feigned disgust and stepped back. "I dey look for my necklace, e fool for here earlier." The guard eyed her suspiciously. "This place no be for students. Carry your wahala kamot." She nodded quickly and hurried away, her heart hammering. Before we continue, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people can stay informed. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. Mariah confronted Amaka. "Tell me the truth. What happens to the girls whose pads are taken?" Amaka's face darkened. "You don't want to know." "I already know. I'm leaving this business." Amaka laughed. "There is no leaving, Mariah. They own us." Mariah felt cold fear crawl down her spine. She was trapped. She wanted to stop, but one night she found a note under her door. "We know what you're thinking. Don't try it." The madmen in the street started watching her. One of them followed her to class, staring at her with bloodshot eyes. Mariah became scared and had to go back. That was when she realized the madmen weren't actually mad. They were used sanitary pad collectors just like them, recruited by a secret cult of wealthy men who used menstrual blood for powerful rituals that multiplied their riches overnight. These men didn't just hire homeless people. They infiltrated universities and senior high schools, recruiting desperate students and disguising them as madmen to pick through trash, university dormitory bins, market refuse dumps, and anywhere used pads could be discarded. And they contracted young girls who stayed on campus to pick used pads from their hostel dustbins and dumpsters, offering them quick money and luxurious lifestyles in exchange. But there was a terrible secret they didn't tell the girls. Once you entered the business, there was no way out. Mariah learned that some girls threw their used pads inside their personal waste baskets before the cleaners disposed of them. One afternoon, while her roommates were at lectures, she pretended to be looking for a lost earring. She rummaged through drawers, under beds, and inside trash bins, taking only the wrapped pads. Just as she was about to leave, the door handle rattled. Someone was coming. Mariah shoved the black nylon bag under her bed and hurriedly picked up a notebook, pretending to be studying. Her other roommate, Kemi, stepped in. "You dey find something?" Mariah forced a nervous laugh. "My bureau?" He fall for ground. Kemi shrugged and flopped onto her bed. Mariah gripped her bag tighter. She had what she came for. Think about it. How many times have you thrown your used pad away without a second thought? Who picks it up? Where does it go? Even though Mariah got the money, the luxury, and everything she wanted, she was always haunted by her actions. She knew the pads were not just used for money. They were used to steal the life force of the owners. She got scared and went online, searching for information. She found old stories of a secret cult in Lagos. Rich men who used menstrual blood to multiply their wealth overnight. Girls who disappeared without a trace, and a warning, if you are in it, you can never leave. Her blood turned cold. She had made a terrible mistake. Mariah decided to quit. She told Amaka she was leaving the business. Amaka's face changed. I already told you, you can't leave. I don't care, Mariah said. I'm done this time around. Amaka smiled, but her eyes were cold. You think they will let you go? That night, Mariah received a message on her phone. It was a video of herself sleeping. Someone had recorded her in her room. Then a text followed, "You belong to us now." Mariah started shaking. She had to escape. More girls went missing. 2 students from the hostel vanished without a trace. Mariah checked their last known locations. All of them were last seen near the hostel dustbins. She went to the school authorities, but they dismissed it. They probably ran away. Mariah knew the truth. They didn't run away. They were taken. One night, Mariah had another nightmare. She saw herself standing in an underground shrine. The rich men in red robes stood around her, chanting. A madman brought a used pad. The leader of the cult pointed at her. "Your blood is next," she woke up screaming. Her hands were covered in fresh blood. Mariah knew she had to leave Lagos. She packed her bags and bought a bus ticket. But when she got to the park, she saw something that made her freeze. One of the madmen was sitting by the gate, watching her. She turned and ran back to her hostel. She was trapped. Mariah decided to fight, followed Amaka one night, and saw her enter a strange house. Inside, she found the truth. The used pads were taken to a hidden shrine. She saw the pool of black water with her own eyes. She saw blood turning into money. She saw a list of names. Her name was on it, and beside it the words, "Sacrifice date, tomorrow." Mariah knew what she had to do. She had to burn the shrine. She stole a bottle of petrol and waited for nightfall. She sneaked into the shrine and poured the petrol everywhere. Then she lit the match. Boom! The shrine went up in flames. But before she could escape, she saw something terrifying, her own face carved into the shrine wall. And then she heard the whisper, "You think fire can stop us?" The cult was after her now. She ran. Everywhere she went, the madmen were watching. She went to the police. They laughed and told her to be careful. She knew then, the cult owned the city. There was nowhere to hide. So Mariah made a decision. She went online and wrote everything she knew. She told girls to burn their used pads. She warned them never to throw them away carelessly. The post went viral. People locked their dustbins. The police arrested some collectors. For the first time in years, the cult went silent. Mariah thought she was safe. The school tightened security. The disappearances stopped. Life returned to normal, or so she thought. Then one night, she woke up. On her bed was a used pad. Beside it a note, "You think it's over? We are everywhere." The door to her room slowly creaked open. Mariah grabbed her phone, shaking. She dialed Amaka's number. No answer. She ran to her friend's room, only to find the door open. Amaka was gone. Mariah knew she was next. She had to leave campus. She knew it wasn't over. It would never be over. She had to pay the price of greed. The university hostel issued new disposal rules. The streets of Lagos buzzed with fear, but it was too late for Mariah. The night after she exposed the truth, she woke up to a chilling sight. Amaka was sitting on her bed. But Amaka was dead. Her eyes were hollow, her skin pale and stretched. A twisted grin curled on her lips as she whispered, "You should have kept quiet." Mariah screamed and scrambled out of bed, but the room was suddenly filled with shadows. The walls bled. The whispers grew louder. Then she saw them, the missing girls. Their bodies were frail, their faces frozen in silent screams. Their eyes, black, endless, hollow, stared straight into her soul. "Join us," they whispered. "Join us." A force pulled her forward. She fought, but her limbs grew weak. Her breath caught in her throat. The last thing she saw was the black pool from her nightmares bubbling up beneath her feet. And then, darkness. The next morning, Mariah's bed was empty. Her phone, her clothes, her belongings untouched. Her name was added to the list of the missing. The girls in the hostel whispered, but nobody spoke too loudly, because they all knew. The cult was still watching. The city moved on. Madmen still roamed the streets, searching. The hostel dustbins were still emptied, and somewhere in the shadows of Lagos, another girl was being offered a deal she couldn't refuse. If you enjoyed this story, don't just sit back and forget it. The dangers lurking in the shadows are real. Share this message with your friends. It's time to start asking questions. What's really happening when you throw your pad away? Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales that could save your life. Your support keeps these stories coming. Your next step might be the one that keeps you safe. Stay aware, stay vigilant. And remember, what you throw away today might just come back to haunt you tomorrow. Because the fight isn't over, it's just beginning. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Your continued engagement means the world to me, and I'm truly grateful for every like, comment, and share. It's your support that keeps me motivated to create more content, and I can't wait to share more exciting stories with you. Stay tuned, and as always, thank you for being part of this journey.